My name is Priyadarshini, as he mentioned. Yes, I had the HR team for CDM Smith. And CDM Smith is basically a US-based engineering firm. Again, the gentleman over here, the earlier moderator, who is from AECOM. So AECOM is also a competitor. So as an engineering firm, we have offices in Pune, Chennai, and Bangalore. So that's a very quick brief about my company. So let me tell you about the panel over here had given me, in fact, they made me tense. They said this is the last panel, and they told me to make sure to keep the audience very engaged. So I'm sure I'll do my best. So the topic is all about talent. I hope you all know talent is a true existence for the GCC, right? I hope you all agree. So we have been discussing about talent. We have been discussing about GCC, about its evolutions, about its policies for the last 2 days. Abhishek, let me ask you this question. So we have seen a lot of data since yesterday, and we have been discussing that we are supposed to add, or the GCC industry is going to add 2.8 million jobs, right? In that scenario, by 2030, what do you think that we should do to attract the talent in a competitive market?
Okay, thank you, Priyadarshini. Let me just quickly introduce my organization, part of Lubrizol Corporation. It's a US headquartered, 100-year-old, multinational specialty chemical company. So we basically produce chemicals that goes into various applications, starting from, engine oil, to construction material, to shoes, life sciences, pharma, nutra. I mean, the applications are sort of across all industry most. We've been in India for about close to 50 years. The GCC is fairly new. It is, I started that last year, so just about 18 months. So hiring right talent is super critical for me right now. It's probably the most time I spent in the last 18 months. So what's the strategy? Well, you said it's a competitive market, so probably there should be a trade secret, but I'm happy to share at least what I think the right strategy in this market could be. I think from a strategy perspective, you look at two things, right? One is your company's objectives, the demands that's coming from the business, plus then from an employee perspective, right? The candidates you want to attract, what's their expectations, what their aspirations are. So you need to kind of marry the two in the right way, and that's gonna be your right strategy to attract the talent. I think, for us, we are a B2B company, so, it becomes very difficult to actually, be recognized in the market because it's not a well-known brand like, Nikes or HSBCs of the world. So, what we make sure is, we do some branding through LinkedIn. But I think the focus for us is actually when we are, engaging with the potential candidate. So we make sure that, we are actually communicating our vision. And it's not, I think a lot of times what we probably make a mistake is we communicate GCC's vision, right? This is our scale, this is how we want to grow. But I think the starting point is organization's vision, their growth story, and then subsequently sort of GCC's growth story. And you need to make sure that the story aligns with the organization growth story. So we talk a lot about the investments that we are making in India, how we are growing in India, and then talk about GCC and our vision and our growth story. So I think that resonates with the candidate a lot because they are seeing that it's not about GCC, it's the organization it's actually growing currently. And hence they will have opportunities to do large projects, global projects, and work with cutting edge technology. I think that kind of is very valued. Two, I think these days more than ever, I would say, values is becoming more and more important, right? So that's something we also focus on, making sure we are actually communicating out to the talent. Especially, we do tactical things like, we actually have a separate conversation during the interview stage where we just talk about values. After the technical rounds and the candidates kind of move forward, we just focus on talking about values. So one, it makes sure that they are actually, the fitment is there with in terms of our organization culture. But I think the employee also sees how much focus we have on the values, right? So they get that. Three, I think now all the talent sort of they want to work with in the new age technology. So you have to communicate the story, even if they are actually sort of joining in a very transactional role, let's say. But you need to communicate the story in terms of how you're seeing the landscape for GCC, how they're gonna add value to the enterprise through maybe maturing into a COE kind of model, whether you're setting up an AI COE, automation COE, or BPM COE. So that I think is definitely important to communicate. We also do a lot of tactical things. I think I always think that while you can put a strategy together, but the devil's in detail, and the tactical things are very important. To just give an example, we actually call all the potential candidates who have accepted our offer, so they're due to join but have not joined yet. We get them for a breakfast meeting. So once a month, and I join that meeting, I have breakfast with them. I talk to them about the organization, vision, values, and all of that. GCC's growth story. Give them an office tour so they get an sort of touch and feel of the culture and what kind of organization we are building here. So that I think is critically important as well. And then lastly, I would just say that attracting the right talent. Lateral talent is not the only avenue for that. I think a lot of fellow panelists actually talked about that. Is that you need to look at other avenues. One is sort of growing your internal talent, making sure that mobility is there. Plus looking at university partnership tie-ups, getting an internship program. We already started that in our first year of operations. We started getting interns and getting GTs as well, graduate trainees. So that's another avenue that we need to track. So basically, one, don't restrict yourself with one particular strategy. I think you can't have a broad brush approach. And two, just make sure that you are actually communicating a lot more than the basics about compensation, benefits, but it needs to be a holistic message out to the candidate.
Thanks, Abhishek. Abhishek, you mentioned about universities, internship program. By any chance, you also got a mandate to have an apprentice program in GCCs, because that's what we have been seeing, right? When I got, so to say, a letter from the apprentice program, they said, you are supposed to implement this apprenticeship program. And I replied, no, we are not a manufacturing. They said, no, it's not limited to manufacturing. Apprentice program is something even GCCs are supposed to implement. I don't know how many of you have got that kind of communications, but yeah, do you have an apprentice program starting, or did you get any mandate as such?
I think you said it already. So we are a manufacturing company, essentially, and GCC is fairly new. So we have been running apprenticeship program for the manufacturing organization since some time. We discussed whether we should extend that to GCC or actually go for the internship and graduate trainee programs through tier 1, tier 2 kind of colleges. We are doing second now. I think there are some complexities around starting with the apprenticeship program. I think so. We said let's do this first, and then subsequently we'll see if we want to extend that.
Thanks, Abhishek. So after attracting, the other challenge is how to retain, right? So Pawan, I would like to hear from you. What is the challenges in retaining for GCC?
Okay, good morning, everyone. It almost feels like it's a machine con summit of 2045. Half of the seats or more are occupied by the LLM agents, which is nice. So, talent retention, acquisition, I think for many of us, spent so many years in the industry, it's a known problem, if we look at this as a problem. right? So I'm actually, from a retention perspective, I'm going to talk about, of course it has worked for us so far, right? That's why we are here. Going forward, we need to understand that, the talent in the market today, including many of us, no, we are not looking for a job, right? We are looking for the momentum, no matter where you are in your career. And that momentum can be delivered in so many creative ways. If I really summarize that, right, in terms of various means that you can deliver, is basically three parts to it, in my mind. One is a psychological safety, right? Two, you need to have trust in leadership. And we need to understand this word trust, right? In the context of GCCs and also talent. That trust in leadership is, look at the ecosystem, how has evolved. Most of the GCCs here are having a workforce mix. You have employees of your own. You have a global distributed teams. You have vendor partners to support you. Now you have, in that mix, also the AI agents or digital employees. So what is this contract of trust that now you would really get to? So it cannot be just the engagement scores. The engagement scores are very directive for the people that are in your organization where you have a complete control, right? Partners that you have a lot of influence. But this is going to be valid with now this mix, which is also have a digital footprint as part of that. So to me, three things: psychological safety, trust in leadership, and the most important in my mind is career velocity. No longer career. Many of us, including myself, I joined Alliance Bernstein 3 months back. I didn't join for a career. I joined for career velocity, how fast my career can move, right? So to answer your question, it's very simple. There is something that has worked for us in last 30 years. I think going forward, it needs to incrementally evolve. And we all need to be mindful of that, right? And that would actually also help us create a right narrative that would resonate with the talent of the future, but we'll also be able to connect and align ourselves to global enterprises that we represent. Very briefly about the organization that I represent, it's Alliance Bernstein. I joined them about 3 months back. It's a global asset and wealth management enterprise, about 860 billion asset under management, 4.5 billion revenue last year. I'm very excited that this phase of the GCC's growth, we would be challenged to see how we are going to keep GCCs relevant, right? It has been so far with the mix changing. And that also means the retention strategies needs to also evolve.
Thanks, Pawan. You also mentioned about leadership and trust, right? So where do we ensure that the leadership or trust among employees, how do we ensure, yes, we can trust the leadership and we can raise our concerns, because that also leads to your retention strategy, right? If I have to raise our grievances, I need to trust, I need to believe in the leadership. So how do we do that?
See, let's address this as an elephant in the room, okay? Many of us playing these GCC roles, many of us are the leaders in the GCCs. But when you really look at how your talent engages with you, it really depends on how they see you. For many of your people in your team, they probably look at you as an administrative overhead. You may call yourself as CEO or CEO, whatever role you may be in, but you are an administrative overhead. So where this comes from? It comes from the belonging that you are able to deliver to those employees, right? Is the alignment that you are able to deliver to the employees. So when I say trust in leadership, it's beyond the benefit of doubt that you get as a GCC leader, that people trust you because you carry certain title, right? It's your ability to represent your enterprise to every person in your organization. And it is not that easy. If this would have been easy, there would be no summit like this required, right? So it's not easy. So we need to kind of think about this, figure it out, and I'm sure I'm sure we will, but it will take time and energy and effort.
Thanks, Pawan.
I'll just add to what you said. I think I really like that point about career velocity, right? I think the challenge one is to identify, who needs that career velocity. So, we do all hypo analysis and all of that, identify our critical talent. But how agile can you be actually in delivering that message to your, employee that, there is a career velocity? So that message needs to be curated and communicated at the right time before your high potential is already looking out. And, we all know that, your best talent will find the job fastest, right? So they will leave. So it's really critical that you communicate that point about, career velocity.
I agree. And that's the reason we as CDM Smith, we always say, hire for careers, not for jobs. That's how. Okay, so coming to you, Aneel, right? So there's a lot of technology, okay? There's a lot of AI been taking our jobs, right? So in that scenario, what do you think GC should do different to reskill at scale?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Priya, and great insights from the co-panelists around the major two parts, right? Attract, retain. I think in the overall talent ecosystem, rescaling at scale plays a major role. GCCs, don't have the talent shortage, right? It's about the visibility to the skills. There are several, views or the approaches we can solve that. The first is about move to the skills first operating model than the role based or the org charts, right? What exactly that means is about the identifying the skills taxonomy, that basically helps us to build the overall skills heat map by understanding what are the current skill supply versus future skill needs. So from getting that fundamental strong, then little on the value stream, it's about understanding the the actual skill heat map that will help us leadership to invest where exactly, right? So once we have that skills first operating model, then the other ways around rescaling at scale is about leveraging the multi-tiered learning platform, from learning using the digital platforms to standardized way of doing to having the digital assistant programs. Predominantly, it can be achieved through multiple layers. The fundamental layer is about catering to the digital talent skills ecosystem and to the higher level of skill needs. And second thing is about creating the internal learning marketplace, not to just to train the people, but to move the people across the enterprise. And the last part definitely is about leveraging AI, right, to build the curriculums by using the digital ecosystem and to create the personalized learning platforms. The second thing is about GCCs cannot do alone in terms of building the learning platforms, but they have to partner strategically, with I think highlight about the academias or the service providers, right? I think those are the major areas. I think definitely reskilling will be effective in the overall talent ecosystem.
Thanks, Aneel. See, we always have this challenge of demand and supply gap, right? So there are a lot of grads who are coming out, but we still find a problem of hiring the best talent, right? And maybe this question is to all of you. what we should do differently apart from, having this good relation with universities or training the professor? What else we need to do different so that the challenge of 2030, what else we should do? What do you think?
So your question is around the university partnerships. What more can we do?
No, my question is more, how do we, address the challenge to fill the talent, especially who are STEM graduates, right?
Yes, I mean, you said 2.9 million jobs. 2.8, yeah, 0.1 less, but
yes, by
still a huge number. I don't know where we're gonna get that talent from. I'm very honest. I think, we all know, we've been talking to a lot of the leaders here, and they were talking about how hard it is to get one particular talent, especially in leadership roles where in the new age technologies, right? It's so hard to find the right talent for the organization. So I think, as I said, I mean, the external ecosystem, leveraging that is critical. I think we probably need to come up, and this can't be done alone, right? So I think we need to look that probably as an industry, as a GCC industry, and see how we address that issue. This is not a problem that one organization can solve, right? So, I mean, you talk about curated programs, right? But I don't know how to go and create a curated program alone by myself, right? So that's where I think the events like this will help, bringing all of that thinking together and making sure that, we approach this in a more unified way. So that I think, and then, I mean, you have to reskill your internal talent to fill those gaps that are getting created right now. I think there's no other way about it. I think but just to add what you said about reskilling, I think a lot of, the way, it's not just trainings, right? I mean, the other aspects of, bridging that gap through like mentoring. I think yesterday somebody talked about, right? I mean, make sure you have one mentor in the industry. I think so those sort of initiatives are required both internally and externally.
Thanks, Abhishek. That's well said. GCC, as a GCC industry, we need to address this problem. Thanks. So, Pawan, you wanted to add anything?
No, I think Abhishek kind of covered it. For me, we need to, I don't think getting talent ready is really a challenge for this geography where we all belong to, right? It's just that our means would change, right? Our probably acceleration would be different. But I don't see that would be a challenge. The challenge would be more respect to what we covered earlier, right? Would the GCCs or the offices in India would be able to provide that as an alignment to what enterprise wants to kind of get from this geography? Getting ready for that is not a challenge in my mind.
Yeah, I think the future-ready workforce model plays a major role. It's about understanding the talent ecosystem and invest accordingly. Yeah.
Good, you touched based on that workforce model. So, Pawan, I would like to understand from you that how do we redesign the workforce model to drive agility and innovation?
Yeah, so I think we actually touched upon this in your previous question that you raised to the panel. I think the organizations of future, in my mind, are not going to be as rigid as we have seen them so far. What I mean by that is, they are not going to be built on the organizational structures, roles, or specific functions. I think the fluidity is going to really determine how we are able to change ourselves to cater to the demands that we would have for the enterprises that we serve, right? What I mean by that is, you are not going to be, like so far, and at least my 30 years, what I've seen, GCCs are seen as augmentation to the capacity. It could be a R&D capacity to a technology capacity or operation capacity. I think that equation is going to change going forward from capacity to capability available almost on the shelf of DMart. You know what I mean? That kind. that you really want to have a multi-purpose, a skill-based workforce for you in India. No longer tied to and or tightly coupled to a role. So that is one. When you talk about the operating model, how that would really evolve, in my mind, AI is going to act as a big leveler for us. It is already, but AI is no longer just a technology gig, right? It is actually the evolved workforce tool, right? So I think that becoming a leveler, operating model will allow us to kind of see organization in a true flat construct. No more roles, no more hierarchies. It's a skill-based or competency-based. You can be a CEO or you can be an individual contributor, a junior most in that sense for the role. But you would be valued for the skills that you bring on demand. So skills on demand is going to be, the key component of the operating model going forward.
Thanks, Pawan.